What's up, everybody? Walt with Flower City Cards here, back with another video. I know it's been a couple weeks, but I was really excited to get back in front of the camera and continue this, and hopefully to continue through 2026. That's my goal, is to try to be a little bit more consistent with the videos. Obviously, took a little bit of a hiatus. There's been a lot going on, a lot of good stuff, and I'm excited to break it all down and talk about the newest opportunities in the market, and hopefully opportunities that you guys are really taking advantage of and really taking seriously, because I think right now we are starting to see some things become available in large quantities at a price that you probably will never see again. So stay tuned for that. But anyways, general life updates as we kind of work into this video. Finally had an offer accepted on a home, which means we are going to be entering the Poor Person's Club again. It just is what it is. It's market's crazy. Had to put a little bit more down than we thought, and ended up going the route of like paying down some points and stuff like that to make the monthly payment just more manageable, right? So making sure that we're not like overextending ourselves, really just making sure we're not taking on more than we can handle, and setting ourselves up for the future where we can do things. I can still participate in the hobby. We still have freedom to do what we want to do. The budget still balances. Everything still makes sense. But super happy. It was about a 4 to 5 month process for us, and we actually started looking last May, right? So like we didn't seriously start looking until probably like November, December, which was like after the wedding. But finally pulled the trigger, and we will be closing early May, and then we want to do some things before we get in there and get settled in. But super excited to be done with that process. Can put more time and effort into this and other things, and kind of just enjoy the summer. Hopefully, now that we're in a house. But yeah, that's going on, which means that there's not as much capital available for me, which is really unfortunate, because it just seems like, at least with some of our sources and our partners, and the people that we get product from, there are some really good opportunities right now, and mainly Prismatic Evolutions ETBs, right? So I think they topped out around like 225, let's call it, give or take, prior to kind of any like additional supply coming into the market, and we are seeing them kind of drop back down to the 160 170 range on TCG Player. And if you're connected with a network, and you're in like a program or whatever, kind of like what we offer, then we have access to thousands of them at pretty good pricing. I know right now we're sitting at like 150 250 in ETB of Prismatic. Obviously you have to pick up a certain amount. You're buying like more wholesale, right? So you're buying like larger quantities. But regardless, right now, I mean, like, I went back to and I know I use this analogy a lot, I know I use this comparison a lot, but look back to Lost Origin Silver Tempest. Lost Origin was sitting at 160, 170, got reprinted, went all the way back down to 100 to 120. That was the time to buy, right? Right now, Prismatic Evolutions ETBs, arguably one of the strongest sets in the last 5 years. It's already proven itself. We have already seen what is going to happen when the demand inevitably continues and the supply inevitably dries up, right? People stock these things away, people rip them. I think people rip ETBs a lot less than like the bundles. But that being said, I mean, if I don't know, you could look at countless other things like Crown Zenith. You could look at Paldean Fates, 151, even though 151 I think is on the upper echelon of specialty sets, and you could get a feel for what we're in for this set over the next 12 to 18 months. It's going to be a wild ride. A lot of people are really going to miss the boat, and if you're not buying now, I don't know when you're buying. And it kind of sucks for us, because obviously we're buying a home. In order for me to kind of get into something like this, I would probably need to move some other things around, which I'm definitely heavily considering. I have been considering that for a while. But I'm telling you guys right now, thousands available, right? And it's everywhere. It's not just us. Like you see it all over the place. Like distribution hasn't even gotten it yet, which is kind of crazy. It's just so crazy to me how like the whole distribution system from Pokemon Center all the way down through like Big Box operates, and then through distribution operates. It just seems like Big Box gets stuff so much quicker, and things happen so much more rapidly, and the botters just bot and they eat, and then the crumbs come out and the from through the distribution channel, and the LGSs get minimal, and they have to go out and buy on the secondary market. It is what it is. This is the current state of the market that we're in, and it's unfortunate. But anyways, that being said, if you can find them at 100, 150 to 160 bucks a piece, I'm considering picking up. I'm not going to say how many, but all I'm going to say is I have definitely given a good amount of thought to acquiring a large position, because we really never got this opportunity with 151. 151, we really didn't get those like massive ETV reprints. We didn't really get like that massive drop. And granted, right, like 151 was released in a very different market. It was released during a more bearish time. So it would be really interesting to see like what would happen, like how 151 would have performed had it been in like the prismatic to ascended window, like somewhere in there, even as early as prismatic, which was like more the start of the bull run. But it would be interesting to see, and then it would also be interesting to see how Pokemon would have reacted. Would they have dropped this massive amount, just like they're doing with Prismatic? But it does make you wonder, like, is this it for Prismatic ETBs? Are we going to continue to get more? Personally, I feel like we're going to continue to get bundles, but that doesn't really matter with the ETB price, because the ETB itself is such a premium product, and people collect the ETB for the ETB itself and less about the packs and the cards and the chases inside. So in my opinion, guys, screaming by, 100% green light, go in if you can. Obviously, be smart about it. Don't leverage. Personally, I'd be buying for the 12 to 24 month, and then I'd probably be looking to maybe move some of that once you've hit kind of some of your target margins, and then kind of rinse and repeat and moving into the next thing, which at that point will probably be Ascended, because that's about a 12-month separation between the two sets. And we know that 12 to 18 months from now, Ascended, if we get another opportunity like this for Ascended, that's the next thing that we'll be getting into. So all this being said, we went to kind of moving into the next topic. My wife and I went to a card show in Syracuse on Saturday. This was the first card show that I've ever been to in person. And if I didn't have confidence in this hobby before going, I do now, because I struggle to put into words what I saw, and I was just trying to like observe, and like I did like a debrief with my wife after, and I was just talking to her, and I'm like, what were your takeaways? Like, what did you think about it all, right? Like what were your thoughts? And we said a lot of things, and I think the number one thing we kind of took away from it was just the velocity of things that were happening. Like things were happening so quickly left and right. Like it was almost, and if you're good with math and you're quick on your feet, like I was fine with it. But I think it's definitely a little bit of a shock for people if you're going in that kind of environment and you're trying to make deals and you're trying to move things and you're trying to figure out what the best options are. Like it's just, I at first I was just like a little overwhelmed, because I'm like, oh crap, I don't want to miss a good opportunity. I was kind of like almost like overanalyzing, and I'm just like, all right, let's just go, just go talk to people, go get a feel for what they're looking for, go kind of just see what they have. Like, some people are more interested and less interested in seeing what you have, right? So like we brought some like cards, some vintage stuff. We brought some slabs. Like people were not super interested in the slabs. Granted, they were like more niche-y, like low pop, higher dollar value cards, versus the vintage stuff like that. I mean, some of the stuff was just like, it was just, as soon as we were there, it was gone. Like in the first couple tables we went to, I think we moved like over probably like 1,500 to 2,000 in just like raw cards that had been sitting here behind me downstairs all over the place like for a couple years now. And I was like, you know what, let's bring some cards. Like, I'm not really sure what we're gonna expect, and overall, I'm glad we went. I think it was a great experience. I think it opened our eyes to a lot of opportunity, and being up in the Rochester, New York area, like there aren't like a ton of like big shows like that. I know there are in like the Buffalo and Syracuse area, and there's a couple in Rochester, but there's nothing like crazy. But that was such like an eye opening experience, and with her, I would say like more marketing background, like PR type expertise and experience in her line of work. It may be a good opportunity for us in the future to kind of dabble in that and start to look at other ways of kind of selling some sealed product singles, and open up avenues to maybe be a little bit more aggressive in terms of like buying collections and things like that, because the amount, I mean, and I was just doing like quick math, like the amount of vendors that were taking 70-80% trade for sealed, and then their sealed was at market to like 110% over market. Like, if you can rinse and repeat that, and I understand like eventually you can't just like take trades for everything, right? Because eventually you're basically just buying, right? You're just buying, taking a percentage of cash for your sealed or whatever the high dollar or highly desired items are for additional junk or potentially junk, right? Depending on what you're accepting, to eventually just have to turn around and sell it later. So, but if you're in it, right, to really do it and grind, there's a lot of money to be made, and I think for anybody that like wants some kind of like a side hustle or something, and they're passionate about it, and they like this hobby, they like Pokemon, they like sports, right? Like it doesn't really matter what it is. Like, you could do so well if you just put in the time. And the other thing that I kind of took away from this experience too is like it's so easy to differentiate yourself compared to the other people, right? Because as you're kind of walking around, there had to have been at least 75 to 100 vendors. A lot of them kind of carried all the same stuff. Like, you could be, I don't know, if you're a creative person, marketing background, you got some kind of like a graphic designer type background, like you could be so creative in so many different ways. And I know like our Discord, I don't partake in a lot of that discussion because I don't really have any experience. I've never really done it, but I think there's just so many avenues and so many opportunities for people that, I mean, once you get out there and once you kind of experience it just once, I think the gears are really going to start to turn. And that's exactly what happened for my wife and I. And obviously it helps, like if you have a significant other, you have a wife, you have a part, whatever. If you're able to go and do this with somebody, it makes it that much more fun that you get to share it with somebody. It's just, it was such a cool experience. And it will not be the last, it will not be the last show we attend. And not only that, it will probably not be. Not only that, I could also see us vending at a show in the future. So, more to come on that. But and while we were there, before I wrap this video up, was able to, and I guess the whole reason I found out about this was Dan Ketchmall Collectibles was there. I was fortunate enough to go and meet him. Super cool dude, tall guy. I'm Italian. I'm vertically challenged, so I think everybody is tall compared to me. But tall dude, really good person. Cool to talk with and see in person, because so much of this is just like virtual over a laptop, right? That kind of thing. And I did see PK as well, so I was able to meet him too. And I obviously watch a lot of his content, but yeah, that was really cool as well. But at the end of the day, guys, just to kind of bring this all full circle, right? We talked about prismatic ETBs, the opportunities there, the vendor opportunities. I think for those people who, really want to take it to the next level with, in my opinion, a couple Saturdays, a couple Sundays throughout the year, invest in some like nice display cases. You could start really bare bones. I'm telling you right now, guys, there's a lot of opportunity out there. So That's all I got for today. I appreciate you guys. Please, helps me a lot. Leave a follow. Comment below. Are you vending? Are you picking up prismatic ETBs? Have you already started vending? Have you already started picking up prismatic ETBs? Let me know below. But until then, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks.